As soon as we have to take the break, let me know. But in that time frame, I came out of the dream that morning on 12/22, and I heard the Lord say, "Turn on the TV." So I turned the TV on, and on November 30th, in the Coming Events Letter, Part 1, I wrote about an event called the June 30th, 1908 Tungsten event, which was a comet that took place that appeared up at Kari, up in the Straits of Siberia, and that comet leveled 80 million trees. Okay, and so when I turned this TV on, there's specific. This was on 12/22, almost a month, not quite a month later, after I wrote this and put it on the web.
Right.
They're talking specifically about the June 30th, 1908 Tungsten event of this comet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the prophecy I wrote that in 2008 there would be a comet that appears in America. Well, that comet took place 2 months ago that appeared up by Seattle. They call it a fiery comet, and it was in the news of that comet. Is that our 4 minutes?
No, either I was off or something. It looks like 1 minute.
Okay, good. And so, and this very, very important, what I'm getting to about this is very key prophetically tonight is what the update is about here tonight, okay? Mm-hmm. And so, with that in mind, with this comet that took place there and with this event, I was very, shocked in a sense to see it on TV that morning on 12/22. All right. This brings us up to this. I would call it a parallel, but it's actually in three. Mm-hmm. That this earthquake that I'm being asked about is going to come out of the west and it's going to go to the east, so that there is going to be two more earthquakes with this. Right. I believe that's also going to hit, one in the Midwest and one in the East Coast, along with three explosions, one in New York City, one in Washington, D.C., and one in San Diego. I went down to Mission Bay on the West Coast trip in January, and I pull up, I see Ford Motor Company out there advertising their brand new cars. I see a Coast Guard helicopter that's doing a mock-up drill, which I thought was a real incident because police were everywhere. And they had orange and yellow smoke coming out, and divers were jumping in the water. And sitting behind that is the aircraft carrier Nimitz 68. So why don't we stop there to break for a second, and I'll explain that when we come back.
Okay, very good. All right,
if that's okay with you, Dan.
Yeah, that'd be great. All right, everybody, you're listening to Matthew Stevens, who is giving us the prophecy for June. And wow, is it specific? If you miss any of this, I've been taking notes myself, so I'll be able to flip back and look here in the near future as to how this goes. We're going to keep abreast of that. We do have a link to Matthew's website on The Edge. If you have any questions, go to the edgeam.com website and just drop us a line right here to the studio. We're going to be right back. Don't go anywhere. We're in the middle of something that's awesome. And welcome back to the Edge television broadcast. Ready, go. This is Daniel Lott broadcasting from the heart of Indianapolis, Indiana. Don't forget to tune into our Thursday show broadcast from the UK. We also have a new channel opening up, our political channel with Indian Asia, broadcasting from Japan. Good day, mate, to Paul Jameson down under. You can become an Edge correspondent or member of the Edge staff. Just go to the www.theedgeam.com website. So many ways you can participate with the Edge. We're discovering the truth together every Saturday night right here on this broadcast, which will be uploaded on the Edge's website tomorrow. And be looking for some major changes coming to the Edge's website. We hope to enhance your navigation enjoyment. So many ways you can participate with the Edge. You can join the forum, sign up for our newsletter. If you have musical inclinations, we have the Edge Music Channel where we have numbers of Edge videos. So if you are a producer and you'd like to get your material to a large listening audience, you know the Edge gets between 4 and 5 million hits per month and has over 6,000 other websites linked directly to it. Now let's go back to our newsmaker line and see if we have back with us Matthew Stevens. Matthew, welcome back.
Thank you very much, Dan. It's good to be back on the other part of the Edge here.
All right. Okay, now we left off with 3 explosions. See if you can just capture a little bit where we left off and jump right back in.
Great, yeah. The three explosions that were taking place with the three earthquakes that would actually come, the earthquake that's going to come out of the west, hit the Midwest and the East Coast earthquakes that would tie together with this prophecy itself. However, also the aircraft carrier number 68, as I was talking about, and there's three types of explosions that's coming forth. And what I see with this is as I went into Mission Bay, where the naval fleet was, and I sat there and watched this Coast Guard helicopter hovering, and there was a whole thing going on with Ford Motor Company, and the camera crews were out there filming their new cars. There was a couple of Fed-looking vehicles that looked like FBI-type style vehicles that were sitting on the side over there with police all around the place, and the Coast Guard was dropping off a couple divers, and there was orange and red smoke going off. Okay. And sitting right behind this Coast Guard's view, right in front of me, was the aircraft carrier number 68, which is the carrier Nimitz. Right. Now, the reason why this is so important, it's a threefold thing, as the Lord spoke to me about here. And one, that the carrier Nimitz 68, if we look at this whole view, I see three aircraft carriers total. Okay, one is the Independence. The second one was the Enterprise, and the third one was the carrier Nimitz. Right. Of course, the Enterprise and the Independence was not there in the port of Mission Bay, so I want the listeners to understand that. But the reason that was brought up to me is because several years ago, those three aircraft carriers came to me as the Spirit of God spoke to my heart about this. Okay. And he said this: the Independence aircraft carrier, America will lose their independence. The Enterprise, it will be the Enterprise of America's manufacturing basis, free enterprise, jobs, everything, will fall to the ground as the carrier gets struck. And the Nimitz represented the naval fleet of the Carl Vinson type fleet aircraft carriers, which is the new mighty fleet of naval power. However, this aircraft carrier has two nuclear reactors on it, and I saw the carrier Nimitz get hits. All three aircraft carriers are going to be struck physically, but I saw the carrier Nimitz get struck as these divers were going into the water. I was asking the Lord, and the Lord spoke to me in the Spirit, and I said, Lord, what is going on here? And then when I found out it was a mock-up drill, he said, my son, there's a diversion. There was going to be a diversion take place, and the focus was with the police, the Ford Motor Company type thing is going on. And why that was going on, there was going to be a mock-up of using Coast Guard equipment with these divers to set explosives on the carrier Nimitz, and that the whole naval fleet of the West Coast will be crippled. Okay, and so I saw this taking place in the spirit as well as in the physical. And 68 was 1968. He brings to me, he said, what happened in 68, my son? And Martin Luther King was assassinated, and so was Bobby Kennedy. Okay, right. The Lord said, therefore, hear well what I'm about to tell you. There will be two political assassinations. I believe that we're going to see two political figures in America that will be assassinated. And I'm not, now listen to me folks, I'm not saying all this is going to happen in the month of June. I'm just telling you the prophecy of this, and I will specify what the Lord's speaking to me about this. There will be two political assassinations take place. One, as we talked about this, we believe that I see Bush taking a hit in the last year of his term. Other people ask me, is it Obama that's going to be struck? I said it'd be a Democrat. They would never finish their term, and they would be assassinated. I spoke that there would be a Democrat back in 2002, this prophecy that the next president will be a Democrat. Okay. And with that in mind, we have to understand this, okay? This carrier Nimitz, the Lord spoke to us, it will be a nuclear incident in Mission Bay. As this thing is struck, there is going to be a nuclear incident, a terrorist attack. I believe that's going to come out of San Diego. Okay? At the same time, there's going to be a nuclear incident in Israel. Okay? Now, I'm going to give you this, and I'm going to give you two dreams with this, of what this took place recently in the last so many days. In this, these three aircraft carriers, the Lord spoke to me about the three cities. New York, Washington, D.C., and San Diego. Of all three cities, there will be some type of terrorist explosion take place in those three cities, along with these three earthquakes. Okay, so what we're seeing here is some parallels in three, and as a double judgment comes to America and the church as representing that judgment as a parallel